Good evening. It's 6 o'clock, so welcome to Employment Committee on Tuesday, the 24th of January 2023, Lichfield District Council. Welcome to all members present and officers and anybody who's viewing on YouTube channel. I take you to the agenda. First item is apologies for absence. Have we any apologies?
Yes, Chair, just received apologies from Councillor Powell.
Councillor Powell, and we have other apologies.
We have
already
Councillor
noted.
Wills missing, yes, so that's been noted.
Thank you very much. Item 2 then, declarations of interest. Any declarations from any members present? Okay, moving on then to item 3, which is the minutes of the previous meeting held on the 18th of October 2022. Any comments, or can we move those? Okay, we'll move on to item 4 then. First report of the evening, which is the pay policy statement 2023. Can I hand over to Sam Mills, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So each year, as we did last year, we have to, as an authority.
Just use one big sort.
Yes. Okay. So as we did in 2022, when we came to Employment Committee, we presented a pay policy statement, which is part of the council's transparency under the Localism Act, to produce a summary of how we set out our pay policy statement, which also includes how we pay our officers and how we delegate those authorities to the head of paid service and our assistant directors. So as you already will know, the council over the last 12 months has gone through a change due to the target operating model and the organisational work that has been carried on around being a better council. So there is going to be adjustment in this pay policy statement that is going to be different to last year. So what we were asking members basically today is for you to, if you have any questions, to raise them, and we will answer them as best as I can, but also that the recommendation is that Employment Committee approves the contents of this updated pay policy statement, of which is set out in Appendix A, which I have with me, and that the committee delegate authority to the Assistant Director, Operations, Regulation and Enforcement, in consultation with the chair of this committee, to update and republish the pay policy in respect of the pay spine set out in Appendix 1. I would also like to point out that although this is of today's date really, that we're subject to pay negotiations that will also take place in April 2023. So I'm happy to take any questions from councillors with regards to the contents of the pay policy statement.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions from any members, please? Councillor Robertson.
Thank you, Chair. It's not so much a question, more of an observation. On page 17 of the document, there's that bar chart there, which describes how many members of staff we've got on each of the gradings. The gradings can then be compared to the annual and hourly rates at Appendix 1. My concern in there, looking at that, is that at those pay rates, we've got the entirety of Band A, the entirety of Band B, and the lowest point on Band C, which are all paid at lower than the Joseph Rowntree Foundation national living wage, the real living wage, the wage that you need to be able to live on outside of London. And that's a real concern to me, because again, looking at those bars, they are quite small, particularly compared to grades D, E and F, D and F. But we're still looking at 15, 20 members of staff there who've been paid lower than the living wage. I know I raised this last year. I will continue to raise it because I think in reality, that is something that we all need to recognise as members. That a couple of pages above, we're talking about the additional payments that we pay to people and honorarium that we paid them and things like that, that equate to well over £107,000. The minimum values times by the numbers for all of those adds up to £107,000. The difference that we could make to people here by ensuring that they are paid that minimum real living wage would be huge. And it would also be a really important point and an important message that we could send to people in our district, that we value our people, we value our staff, and that we expect every single person in this district to be paid a wage they can live on. And so I'm aware that this isn't going to be something that we're able to fix here, but I'm also aware that we have an opportunity to air this, we have an opportunity to raise it. I hope that the leader who is in the room is listening to that. I hope the council strategy is listening to it, because when I raised it last year, he said it was something he would look at and come back to us with. We've not seen anything. I recognise it's been a difficult year with local government finance, everything's going on, but we've still got 15 or 20 members of staff who are being paid below the living wage. And that's something that we really need to look at. And finally, just one other point. I have looked on the website for the version that's on the website of this pay policy statement. If you search pay policy or pay policy statement on our website, the first 3 links that come up show you the 2020 pay policy statement, not the 2022 one. So, sorry, the 2021 one. So I think we need to make sure that's updated. And hopefully, and I'll, can have this discussion at council again in a couple of weeks, I'm sure. I think we need to recognise that our staff are our most valuable resource, and we need to be remunerating them properly. And I would say that the very minimum we should be looking at there is ensuring that we're paying every single person a wage they can afford. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Robinson. I think Christian will respond.
Yeah, just to come back, we did a piece of work last year where we did rectify those 17 individuals who fall below that. So we gave an appropriate allowance in recognition of that. But obviously things have moved on in terms of where that benchmark is, and what we haven't done is built that into our ongoing pay policy structure to keep pace with that level. So it was done as an exercise last year, but hasn't been kept pace. So I think it would be helpful if the committee, given that the head of paid service next to me has confirmed that if that was the wish of the committee, that we would put that as an additional recommendation to this paper to go to full council to make that a continuous issue.
Councillor Robertson, come back.
It would be my absolute pleasure to move that as an additional recommendation. I can't think of anything that we could do tonight that would be better than that.
Is there a seconder for that proposal? Councillor Banavicius. Shall we have a vote on that then, please, members? All in favour of that?
So that addition.
That addition? Yeah. Thank you. That is added on there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions from members? No. Okay. So I think we just need to go back to the recommendation, which is at the beginning, which is on page 5. Recommended that the Employment Committee approves the contents of the updated pay policy statement as set out in Appendix A, and recommends a policy for approval by full council on the 28th of February 2023.
And now they'll be that.
The one that we've already taken a vote on, and then 2.2, which is the committee delegate authority to the Assistant Director Operations Regulation Enforcement in consultation with the chair of this committee to update and republish the pay policy in respect of the pay spine set out in Appendix 1 and any ratios once the pay negotiations for 2023 are concluded. Are we agreeable to those recommendations?
Yes.
Thank you. That is moved then. Thanks very much. So we now move on to item 5, which is exclusion of the public and press. This is resolved that as written would be prejudicial to the public interest by reason of the confidential nature of the business to be transacted. The public and press be excluded from the meeting for the following items of business, which would involve the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in paragraphs 1 and 3 of Schedule 12A of the Local Government Act 1972. So moved.